I thought I'd do today is we'd go on a little search for some fat wood. In Mississippi, we have a lot of pine trees. I know they're in a lot of the other parts of the United States, much of the rest of the world. But here in Mississippi, we have an abundance of pine trees. And if you can see back here behind me, in fact, this tree right here, that's a pine tree. Lots of pine trees. In fact, a lot of the hardwoods in the southeastern part of the United States are being cut down and not being replanted. And it's being replanted in pine trees for the lumber industry. But what that does as a benefit is creates a lot of fat wood. And we're gonna look for some, what we call here lighter pine. But it's fat wood or pine knots. There's probably several different ways to refer to it. But it's great for fire starters, fire kits. It's a must to put in your fire kit. In this part of the country, if you're not using all store-bought stuff, I like to do things the natural way, the old ways, and use what I can find, and that's the way most of us are. So what we're gonna do is walk around and look. Talking about the woods, I hate to see a lot of the hardwoods cut down because I love to squirrel hunt. There's a lot of good, useful trees as far as lumber and things that we make, like making bows and stuff. And a lot of the hardwoods are disappearing and going away. And yes, there are a lot of them, but they're confined to fence rows and streams and the national parks and wildlife areas. But it's not totally a bad thing. The animals are adapting. They live in these pine forests. The deer are there. The squirrels eat the pine cone, the nuts in the pine cones. There's a lot of uses. There's a lot of pine pitch in the pine trees, so it's not a total negative thing. But we're gonna go walk around and see if we can find some lighter pine or fat wood. All right, we haven't walked very far. You'll notice right here, this green moss, this tree, very solid. Now, I didn't bring my tripod out in here with me, but I'm just gonna take this axe and we're gonna hit it a lick here. Okay, you see this? See this color in here? And this is just laying right here on top of the ground. A big, long, nice piece of it. Now, when they say lighter knots, a lot of times what people are referring to is this area here. This is where a limb was. Get a close-up. This is a knot. That'll be a higher concentration of the resins, which is what burns the best. But even down here, this larger part is going to be the base of the tree. So as it died standing there, a lot of these resins sunk down and went down to the bottom of the tree. But we're going to look around. I'm going to keep this piece. I'm going to put it in my pocket. I know where this is. I'll probably collect this whole piece and take it back to my campsite there. But we're going to look around and find some other areas that this is at. All right, as you're walking through the woods and you begin to see these blowed over pine trees, and this is a mix of woods. This is on our personal property that hasn't been logged. It was many, many years ago, but it's all growing back up naturally. But you notice these stumps right here. Places like this where you find blowed over, this stump where this tree has died, there's going to be lighter pine down in there. Now this is not as old, but you can see right there where I've cut. The deeper down in this stump you go, you're gonna find lighter pine. I guarantee you, in this log, the core of this, And you've got to be careful cutting because this is a widowmaker. We're not far behind our camp, but it's clear of our camp. You don't want to be under this in no kind of way. I'm right here at the base of this because you start cutting this could fall. So be careful, but you hear that? Hard to do this. I apologize about the camera. I'm trying to do it one-handed. I should have brought my... But you look right there. That's lighter pine right down in there. In the core of this rotten log. If you know where to look, I'm gonna show you one more thing. I'm gonna look around here just a little. Okay, I picked up several pieces right here. If you look at this, there's a stump right here that's got some in it. You see this? This is growing up out of that stump. This has just a solid, hard core in the middle of it. But I'm gonna show you about the colors of it, if I can. All right. What I was gonna show to you is this color. I went ahead and come back out where I could get the tripod. It was too hard to do stuff one-handed. The video would be terrible. I'm gonna lay my ferrule rod to the side. You see the color in this, and let me get closer to the camera. This is a piece. It's very hard, but if you'll notice, this is very light in color. It has that pine smell. Get off balance. But this, it does not have a lot of resin in it. Now I'm sure right on down in the core, it's a little more, but not much. This is not what you're really looking for. Now this will burn, no doubt about it. You take my lighter and show you. I mean, this will light up and burn, no doubt. This is not what you want to use to start a fire. So what I was going to show you, and I don't scrap those pieces. We'll put it in the fire and use it for building a fire. But this first initial piece, this large piece that I cut out, and like in these knots right here, that one's almost hollow for some reason. Okay. You see where I cut through this knot? Get in front of the camera. You see that concentration in the center of that? That will burn for a while and burn hot. So those small knots, some of the knots can be larger, but you see on this limb, this is the knot right here coming off. What that is where that tree was growing, that was branches coming off. Those knots will have a high concentration of that sap in there. Call it tar or sap or resin, a lot of different things. But if you're gonna build you a fire with a ferrule rod, most of you know this, some of you don't. For the few that don't, you can take the back 90-degree spine of your knife. I usually use the blade because it works faster. But you just scrape down the side of that knot, and you're creating a bunch of shavings. You pile those shavings up on the ground. That right there, those scrapings, a ferrule rod will ignite them. There we go. All right, I went on and built me a fire lay here. What we're gonna do is go ahead and see if we can get us a small fire going before the rain sets in. It looks like there's possibly a shower coming here. Sure is too hot to be building a fire. Took a few tries, but we got it. I'm gonna burn this little bit of fat wood here because I have a huge abundance of it. Clean up right here. I'm gonna keep some of these little nodes here that's a little more potent. Because they're good for in the rain. But one of the other things I was gonna show you on this that I use to get my shavings. If you notice in these dark strips, that's where most of your resin's at. You want to get as much of that raked in so that it ignites off of this ferrel rod. We got us a little fire going here. You can see the proof that this works. Thank y'all for watching my videos. Like it, subscribe, hit that little bell. We're trying to make a few more videos pretty regularly, but thank you guys for watching and for your support.